Welcome, everybody, to HCS Source, your source for all HCS news. This is episode number 5, and my name is Active. I'm going to be your host today, but of course, alongside me is my beautiful duo, Why Not Be Casting, aka Tony. Tony, what's up, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm feeling great. It's been a great day. I woke up in a terrific mood, got to play a bunch of Halo. I had an amazing stream earlier today. Even afterwards, I relaxed a little bit, played a little bit of Apex, and it was fun. The only thing I'm really mad at myself is that I have so many chores that I have to do, and I've been putting off to the side, preparing for the move, preparing for just a whole bunch of stuff, and I literally haven't done any of it. Like, not even laundry, so I'm a little disappointed in myself, I'm not gonna lie.
Hey, the grind is real. You got a lot to do, a lot going on. You casted like a million days in a row or something. I don't know how you do it all and still find time to breathe. But regardless of all of that, we've got a lot of topics to go over today. And honestly, it's going to be a very interesting and fun show because we got some crazy announcements just today. That being the G1 roster was announced. Obviously, Boo Boo Dubu has been added to the G1 roster, which is absolutely insane. He's going to be joining, of course, Swish, Predevinator, and Squall-Eye. Sorry, I always say his name wrong. I don't know why. I think it's Squall-Eye. It's not Squall-Eye. It's not I. But anyway, they announced their roster today. Of course, Faze officially announced their roster. The roster, sorry, I got something in my throat. It's like a fortune teller or something. I predicted this back on June 17th. Just gotta let's put that out there real quick.
Only 16 days after I did.
Oh God, here we go. So we've got to talk about that, of course. We've got to talk about this super open qualifier number 1 that was streamed on LVT, twitch.tv/Louis V Titan. So we're actually going to be doing that again Sunday. So make sure you guys tune in. 4 pool spots were given during that time, but we got to talk about the rosters that are locked in. The top 8 teams are roster locked. They cannot make any more changes before the super. That's it. They're donezo. The team they have now is who they're sticking with. We're going to talk about the teams that, those top 8 teams where SSG was actually squeezed out. So they actually had to play in the qualifier. And I won't give you any spoilers, but I'm going to give you a spoiler. They didn't make it. They're going to have to play again on Sunday, which is really rough for them. But someone who did make it and actually beat them in a Game 5 was Anime Demons. So we're going to talk about them and their performance. And of course, we've got to bring up the fact that Barcode, my man, from Australia, from the Chiefs, is actually in Texas now. He's moved to Texas. He's moved to the US of A. And that's a very interesting thing as well. So very amazing topics today to talk about. But before we go into these topics, Tony, you've talked a little bit about your day, so I won't, ask you to talk about that again. Get on those chores so you can move, so you can get hardwired internet. Wi-Fi is terrible. I don't know how you do it, but get that going.
Bring in a prayer.
Yeah, but I have a question for you. And I'll answer this one first. So give you a little time because I don't like to throw things on you and just, would you change anything from your past? And this goes to the viewers as well. Anyone listening on Spotify, anyone listening on YouTube, would you change anything from your past? If there was one thing you can change from your past, what would it be? Now, I'm not going to go into my entire personal story, but I will say I've been through a lot. And I guess if there was one thing that I could change from my past, and this is kind of dark, so I don't mean to like set the theme of the show like this, but I would make it so that my dad didn't pass away. I love my dad; he was my best friend. But you can't do that. You can't stop someone when it's their time. It's their time. I miss them to death, Dad. This show is for you. I love you. But everything else in my life, all the things that I've been through a lot. It was actually during the same time of my dad passing. I just went through a storm. We're talking, almost drowning kind of storm. It was rough. I wouldn't change it for the world, because if I didn't go through that, I'd still be the very immature, very childish, very just didn't care about doing anything, just kind of running through life expecting things to come to him kind of guy. And because I went through the things that I went through, I feel like I've turned into a man. And I feel like I've grown significantly. Am I fully grown? Absolutely not. I've got so much to learn. When you hit 30, you realize that you realize that your life pretty much like you just start learning everything, like so many things at once at 30 years old, I feel like. And I've got so much more to learn. So the way I think of it, everything in your past really kind of sets you up for your future. It makes you the person you're supposed to be. And although very difficult, and this goes to anyone out there listening, you know, that may be going through some mental stuff or maybe going through some really hard times in life, as hard as those times are, they shape you as a person. They make you who you're supposed to be. That's the way I feel, at least. And it is tough, and a lot of things are unfair, and I get all of that. I don't know all of your situations, but I will say I wouldn't change anything in my past. I think everything has gotten me to this point, and So Tony, I mean, it's tough. This question is tough because there's a lot of things, you know, if you change them, you kind of maybe change the outcome of your future or whatever. So what would you say about that question?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I will say, I'm obviously sorry, but that your dad passed and whatnot. My dad passed as well, but I wasn't as close to him at all. And I will be honest, if I had lost my mother, I don't know who I would be right now. I would definitely be on a downward spiral, right. For sure. Not the man that you see before me today, especially if I lost him at a young age and doing what the things I was doing when I was younger.
Right.
So again, sorry to hear that, man. But I will say that I'm sure he's looking down. I'm sure he's very proud of the man that you are today, and will continue to be proud of the man that you will become.
Thank you.
In the future, because your journey is not done. You're just hitting milestones. You're not hitting destinations, or the destination. Excuse me. Sorry, it caught me off guard.
I'm sorry. I definitely, I knew I was gonna set the tone with that, and I had no idea about your father, man. You're obviously a very private person. I had no idea about that, and I can't wait to get to know you a lot more. But yeah. I didn't mean to set the tone in a dark way. It was just a very impactful moment for me. He was the guy that believed in me all throughout my life. So like he's the only, like my mom is like the traditional go to college, go get a job, and I love her. I mean, obviously we're great now together, but he was always the guy like go chase your dreams, go do what you love, and yeah, that's why he made such an impact.
The one thing I will change, you know. I've always been super passionate about Halo.
Yeah.
I've always I felt I was in an area where I was kind of lost in my life. You know, my whole life I was dealing with, you know, I was either going to play basketball, you know, college, you know, try to make it pro or go overseas or make it to the military. So when I talked about this before, when I dislocated my knee a couple of times, and you know, mentally it kind of messed me up. I didn't have really a direction, and I talked about it before. You know, growing up in a terrible area, I could have ended up on those streets more than I should have been, and maybe doing something I was supposed to be. Luckily, I did find Halo, and it definitely gave me something productive to do. I fell in love with it immediately, and to this day, I'm still in love with it, and I'm passionate about Halo. And the one thing I wish I knew is that I would want to be involved in Halo as a career, because I was always in love with it. I always tried to compete in it, but I always knew that I wasn't good enough to be a pro Halo player. I wish I would have knew that I would be interested in casting. I always thought casting was cool. Never thought that I would be involved with it. Always thought that, you know, being around gaming and not working a 9 to 5 and, you know, really grinding and hustling. And I mean, that's what I was doing before. I was grinding, hustling, just in a different way. But now I'm grinding, hustling, and now I don't have to worry about getting in trouble. I love it. I do, like, and it's a little scary at times. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I was at it, keep X amount of money in the bank, because you never know when things slow down or even stop completely. You don't know. But I love the idea of, I'm going to put in this work and I'm going to grind. So I wish I knew at a younger age that I would want to pursue this as a career, because I could have started younger. I could have, I could always imagine where I would be is if I started practicing casting during Halo 3. Like I didn't start casting until the end of Halo 5. Like what if I started in Halo Reach or Halo 4 even? I always wondered where I would be. So I would say if I could change, I wish I could go back in time and say, hey, you know those pizza and wing nights when you're watching those Halo tour, when you sit there watching the MLG, just know that you're gonna be doing something similar, if not bigger, as your career. So get to it. I think that'd be cool.
That'd be all, and you'd be casting next to Puckett. Oh, that would be a great duo. My goodness, that'd be so much fun to watch. Oh, great. I mean, definitely. I can't say the same for myself. I can say that you've become an incredible caster. Obviously, you're on the HCS and you're doing big things, and everyone loves Tony. I mean, everybody loves.
I wish that was true.
No, I
got some haters. I got some haters.
From what I've seen, I mean, let me tell you, we all know that there's haters when you succeed. Everyone, there's going to be those people, but the majority of the community loves Tony, and there's a reason why. It's because you're a genuine person. You're great at what you do, and you make the games that we watch entertaining, and I 100% agree. I love casting with you for that reason. There's always just a really good vibe there. There's always just like, I know that if I'm casting with you, like there's just gonna be this like light, like sunshiny vibe. It's just gonna be a good time. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna watch some incredible games. So I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm glad that you took this path. I'm very happy that you took this path, and I got to meet you as a friend. Honestly am. So I'm glad things worked out. For me, I can't say the same. It's for, I went through my streaming career, and this is kind of what I'm doing now, and streaming is kind of slowing down a tiny bit, and it's nuts, and I don't know. I couldn't change. I wouldn't change anything, because I feel like it's all made me. It's been stressful. Like you were saying, like how casting or even in consecration in general, you got to keep some money in the bank and stuff like that. I hear you, brother. You never know. Like there are days where it's like. You feel like one of those unfortunate people on the street begging or whatever, and there's other days where you feel like you're riding a Lambo. It's really weird. This is the way it is. It's roller coaster rides up and down, but we love it. We absolutely love it. But we got to talk about some other stuff here, Tony. The Faze roster officially announced. I am not going to sit on my pedestal and brag. It's okay, but it's great. I love this roster to death. We've seen some really interesting scrims. We've seen them lose 12-1 to Optic Gaming in a scrim. Unfortunately, we don't have Data Hive anymore. Tony, is that affecting you a lot? That whole Data Hive being down thing, is it bothering you? Yeah. It's rough.
Destroy me.
Yeah, it's rough, man, because you got to be on top of everything. Like, that song, I think it's a song, right? You don't know you don't know how much you love something till it's gone, or whatever the lyrics are. That's what it's like with Halo Data Hive. Like, I feel like I just found it a few months ago, maybe 5 months ago or so, and I've been utilizing it to stay up to date with everything, and now it's gone. But I've been now having to go, and this is good. I think there's a good and a bad. I always try to find positivity in something, even in like a negative situation. The positive side of this, Tony, is the fact that I can go now and I have to watch the scrims now. So I have to actually go and watch the gameplay, and I get to see some nuances and some things that they're maybe doing, some bad habits that the teams have, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing I will say about the Faze roster is I talked to Sparty, and one thing that he has mentioned is that they need a lot of work, and that's evident in the scrims. It's evident, right? And he said that one thing that is a really big focus for them is their objective efficiency. He said they're 4 massive slayers, and right now they're not really focusing on objective at all. They're just all out there slaying and slaying and slaying. Tony, tell me something. How do you is it gonna be easy for someone to change a playstyle? I understand in this day and age that everyone needs to know every role, right? I get that. But like for one of those 4 guys that are just massive slayers, like absolutely all of them are just like the top slayers in the game. How do you change a playstyle to like really kind of have in the back of your head while you're just 4-shotting everyone to, get that objective time? Like, you think it's going to be tough for them?
I mean, I will say that I don't think they have to change their playstyle, but but to answer your question and to not answer it at the same time.
Yeah.
I think they just need a game plan. I think they like go in with the game plan and execute. Like as of right now, it looks like they're going in and they have a general idea of what they're trying to do to accomplish, but it's like, how do we get from point A to point B, from point B to point C, and how do we react, when X, Y, and Z happens? I think that's the issue.
Okay.
And so going with a game plan, we're gonna push. We're playing Aquarius flag. We're gonna push utility here. We're gonna make sure we put this flag. When this flag carrier is going in, we're gonna have someone on the utility side with that utility person to try to make it back towards mid. We'll make sure there's somebody on top mid to make sure that he can jump over toward the P side and watch every extender. If they send over extenders, let's just collapse on them. Let's not collapse. What is your game plan? What is your A and B, and then how do you adapt? When we're playing basketball, you have a few go-to moves. If I cross left, I push up and I hesitate. Mm-hmm. Now I can continue going right, but if my defender reacts with cutting off my baseline, cool. I'm gonna go back behind the back and I'm gonna go to the left and either pull up or keep going because I have my crossover and I have my counter. I have my move and I have my counter. You always, if you just have your move and you can only go right and never go left, what is happening is they force you left. So it's the same thing in Halo. So as you're starting to push for this, that, and third, how do you react when things don't go your way? How do you react when you go 2 or 3 down in that Aquarius CTF? Are you rotating through your base and forcing that strong side? Are you shooting a 4-man push over towards the P side and getting towards your opponent's base? Are you doing a 2-2? What's the game plan here? And what is the counter when things don't go your way? And with that, you scrim the best of the best, like Optic, and who have been together for some time and already have this executed. And then you do film review, and then you find out, okay, how we're going to react in this scenario. How we react to it. And eventually you just start seeing these scenarios over and over again, and you start to fix them, and you still make some mistakes, but eventually it becomes muscle memory on how you react to them. And I'm sorry, I took a question. I went totally left field with it and gave you a super long answer. But like I said, at the end of the day, I just think they need a game plan. And once they're able to figure that out, once they're able to go to the review and find out what they did wrong and how they could turn their weaknesses into strengths, that's the Faze. It's the same players we know. They're gonna get there. Just because it didn't happen day 1 doesn't mean it's not gonna happen day 17. That's why we practice. I said it last week. The only place where success comes before work is in the dictionary. If that's what you're looking for, good luck. Because it's not gonna happen overnight for everybody.
I definitely want to highlight one of the points that you said, and it's the optic scrims and the fact that they lost 12-1. And I think I mentioned this last week. I'm not sure, but I will say they've got 11 games to look at and study. And, I think they're scrimming tonight as well. Sparty got offline, so I'm assuming he said he thinks they're scrimming, so I'm assuming they're scrimming. So, again, it's going to come down to scrimming, watching film, taking that, making an improvement for the next scrim. But I really truly don't believe these teams go into these scrims to lose, but I do believe that winning is not their number one priority. I do believe that learning is their number one priority, learning from the scrims, whether they win or lose, what is working, what is not working. And I agree. I think it's all about, making sure that you change your play style in order to fit the situation, making sure that you're making the right moves according to the situation. And that's one of the things that the pros do the best. And that's one of the things that these 4 players will absolutely do the best. They know how to win. They've a lot of them have won tournaments. They know how to win. They know what it takes, and they're going to do what it takes. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're, I hate to say it, it's so hot, it's such a hot take, but I truly believe it, at least in my heart right now, I truly believe that these guys have a very, very large chance to win Worlds, as long as they constantly work. I don't think they're going to place well in the Super. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think a Super placing is in their favor right now. They could surprise me, but we'll see. It's going to take some time. Smarty said the same thing. It's going to take lots of time. That's what it takes when you have 4 guys that are willing to put the work in. They're not going to be overnight stars. 100% agree with you. It's not going to take 2 days. It's going to take many days. So we'll see what happens with them. Nextly, we have the G1 roster, official roster update. Boo Dubu has been added, of course, to this roster with Swish, Predevinator, and Squale. I love this, and we all knew this, and these, I gotta be honest, Tony, these official roster announcements, I understand there's contractual stuff and legal stuff in the works, and there has to be a quote-unquote official launch based on contracts, etc., But it's kind of stinky because it's not very hype, you know. They try to hide it as much as they can with these Smurfs, etc. But we pretty much know what's going on, and we knew Boo Boo was with these guys through multiple opens. We knew that he's been with these guys pretty much every tournament for the past like month. So we knew this was going to happen, but it's cool to see that it is official. What are your thoughts on Boo Boo joining the G1 roster? I know you love them very, very much, as do I. But what are your thoughts on that being official now?
Well, first of all, let me premise with what I'm going to say with is that I am utterly shocked.
Uh-oh.
I am flummoxed.
Flummoxed, okay.
I feel bamboozled because I had no idea this Faze roster was going to come together, and I had no idea Boo Boo Doo Boo was going to join G1. I caught the news. I nearly shut the stream down and had a parade. Because this came to such a shock to me, and I wish there was some kind of writing on the wall, some kind of warning. I wish, you know, maybe there's creators like myself putting out YouTube videos or even doing content like this talking about it. I wish we would have saw them scrimming together. I wish we would have saw them, I don't know, playing in tournaments together and being dominant. Because I was flabbergasted that Boo Boo Doo Boo is going to G1. Are
you getting old, Tony? Do we need to like make the text bigger on the screen? You know, make that large text. Is that what it is?
I guess so. I guess so, because it was shocking. G1. By the way, G1.
I love it.
Squale, Boo Boo Doo Boo, Pre-Devinator, and Swish. I like the squad, and I haven't been hiding it very well. I think G1 were already on an upward trajectory to begin with. They had already finished, I think, third place during one of the opens before Boo Boo Doo Boo joins. Boo Boo Doo Boo joins, and this brings a level of veteranship, leadership, and ability, a mentality to grind. And I think that goes well with someone like Swish, because I know Swish personally. Same thing, big brain, a high IQ, grinder. It's same kind of thing. Then, you know, also Pre-Devinator, Pre-Devinator is a stud. Dude, Pre-Devinator, people aren't talking about him. When we mention G1, I hear a lot of boo-boos, I hear a little bit of swishes, but ain't nobody talking about Pre-Devinator. And the man is an absolute legend. He probably likes that nobody's talking about it. Let him fly under the radar. You know, focus your attention on somebody else, and Devin is gonna make you pay. And then Squale, who I'm very new to him, but he seemingly glues this squad together. And the more I watch him, the more I like him. I think the squad is destined for greatness. You know me, I like to try to be safe, so I'm gonna say walking into any tournament, guaranteed top 12. Legitimately fighting for top 8, and then a stretch goal of top 6. But if they continue the way they're going, I bump it up a little bit. Top 8 guaranteed. Top 6 legitimate contending for, and then a stretch goal of top 4. I don't want to go there yet because I don't want to be a victim of recency bias, you know? So I want to give it time. I want to see what happens when there's real money on the line and whatnot. But you see the scrims, you see the opens, you see what G1 are doing. And if you're going to sit here with blinders on, that's on you. Because I'm not. I have my eyes wide open.
This G1 roster literally snuck into the 5th seed. Not by, placing in pro tournaments, not any of that stuff. From joining the opens and placing in the opens and winning 2 opens. That's how they got all those points. That's how they're at 61,000 points right now. Faze being at 57,000 points, and they did it from the grind. And you love to see that. You love to see that out of this roster. And I agree with you. I talked to Switch a little bit too. I don't know him on a very personal level.
I don't want to know.
but he's a perfectionist. I went to him after I think the LAN at KC, the LAN inside of the KC Royal Stadium, and I said, "Oh, you played real well that game," and he goes, "No." He says, I played terrible. There's so much stuff I could fix. I don't know why I made so many different plays, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I like this guy. I love a person like that is a perfectionist of their craft, and can't wait to see their future. And I agree with you. I'm going to go ahead and give you a +1 on the top 12, and top 8 scenario. I think that's pretty much a very safe prediction for them on LAN. But I want to see more. I am so hungry to see more. And one of the things I've got to talk about a little bit is mostly the fact that this super, just kind of an additive thing. This super, a lot of teams are flying to Texas. I've got confirmation that at least Sentinels is flying. But I believe a lot of the top 8 teams are flying to Texas, literally getting Airbnbs at Texas with Fios internet and making sure they play this super from there. Why? Because there's $125,000 on the line for an online event. Okay, and this is actually, I've got it. Maybe someone can fact check me, maybe you, Tony, but $125K for an online event is the most I've ever seen for an online event for Halo, ever. And you got to play at Texas. Like, the least amount of desync, the least amount of problems. Texas is the place. And apparently a lot of these teams are going there. And the only reason I bring all that up is because when I was talking to Sparty, he had said Faze, he doesn't know if they're going. He says he thinks they're going, but he doesn't know. If Faze doesn't go to Texas, geez, Pete's is what I like to say. They need to go to Texas. That is I believe, in my opinion, when it comes to online, that is a very large advantage. But anyway, moving on here. We've got to talk about the 4 pool play spots. So we've got the Sunday Open qualifier. That was last Sunday. We've got the Sunday Super Open. That is this Sunday coming up. And then, of course, the Super is the weekend after. So the first one, there's going to be 4 pool play spots awarded. And I'm going to list those off to you. I'll let you know who's the 4. And then the next Sunday, there's 4 pool play spots awarded and also 4 elimination championship bracket spots. So basically, you don't go into pool play, but you end up in the elimination bracket, which means you lose once, you're gone. Okay, you go right straight to the elimination bracket. Or the other option is if you don't get either one of those 8 spots, you're going to end up having to play through the entire Open. So I don't know which one I'd want more. Like, I honestly, if I'm being serious here, I would rather either get the 4 pool play spots or go through the Open, warm up, get really hot as a squad, and just fly through the bracket. That's my thinking. I don't think going into championship elimination bracket with 0 games and then having to play a squad who's definitely a very high seed right away, Tony, is good for you. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would disagree only because I feel like I see where you're coming from. I think it's a great point, but I also feel like this is Halo. Mm-hmm. And, it's best of 5. And a team does not have to be better than you in order to knock you out of a tournament. You know what I mean? Like a team, all they have to do is be playing better than you. I say it all the time. Names don't win series, performance does. And 1 off series for you, 2 off games, and another team is now knocking you out of the Open bracket. Now you don't even get a chance to make it into the championship bracket. So I see where you're coming from, and it makes sense. I still, there's a lot of teams you got to fear, man. There's a lot of teams that are dangerous, and the Open bracket, it's a pit. It always is. Mm. That's why I walk the Open bracket on lands. And the other casters, they chill out, they relax, get some food, and of course that's probably what you should do. Me, I'm out of the pit. I want to see what's going on. I love it. I live for it. So okay. That's the only reason why I would say show the Open bracket some respect, because if you don't, you may be knocked out a lot earlier than expected.
I will step back and agree with you that this has been the most competitive Open bracket we've ever had in any video game, any Halo. Like, the Open bracket is the most competitive. At KC, there was just waves about how competitive it was. So I 100% agree with you. There's a lot of great talent in the Open bracket. But let me talk about the 4 teams that did qualify for those 4 pool play spots last Sunday. We have Oxygen Esports, Anime Demons. We got to talk about this. This squad is absolutely disgusting. I freaking love this squad. Then we got Complexity, and we've got Fnatic. I was hoping that Fnatic could get in. They are a partnered team that a lot of people really kind of just, I don't know, they're like the new SSG in a sense, where players are like, oh, what's going on? Like, they just made some changes. Of course, Super CC, Jazero, Septify, and Rami, they did make it in. But I gotta focus. I'm gonna focus here. Like I said, Oxygen, Anime Demons, Complexity, Fnatic. But I'm gonna focus on Anime Demons here. Anime Demons went to a Game 5 against SSG. I actually watched Burton has a video on his YouTube. I actually watched the storyline from the beginning of the tournament towards the end when they beat SSG. Let me tell you something. First off, Game 5, Mortally went 20-10, which is, absolutely disgusting. But we can't sleep on Hotshot Ghost. The guy made some incredible plays. I remember, Tony, when you were casting him, you were calling out some incredible plays. The guy is he's icy, dude. It's like he's icy in a sense of like a veteran player, like you'd expect like a renegade to be, or someone who just makes the plays necessary to win games. And we saw that countlessly on Sunday. But you got to watch that video if you haven't already. Go to Twitter, go to Burton's Twitter, and he has got a YouTube video there. It's on his YouTube, but the Twitter is probably the fastest way to get to it. I love this squad. I mean, Tony, I'm sure you have a lot to say about NMA Demons, but again, a Game 5 win against SSG. I believe it was 44-50 or 46-50. Pretty close game, but these guys at the, if you watch the video, these guys at the end popped off. Like, they were screaming. It was just, the passion was so strong in those comms. It was so great to see. Tony, tell me a little bit about what you think about Anime Demons.
I saw Anime Demons and I saw the roster and I thought that a bunch of free agents didn't have much options and decided to get together and just a group of talented players. I ended up having a newfound respect for everybody on that roster. Burton's been doing this for quite some time. I think he has value to any roster he's on. Parzelli, very new to Halo, I believe a former ex-Call of Duty professional player. And one thing I love about COD players is they're fast, decisive, and they're quick to lock on, always getting that first shot. So that's valuable in Halo as well. First shot, be decisive, stay alive, do what you got to do. You have extra shields coming over from COD to Halo, so hey, use it. Make sure you're a nuisance on the map. I gained a newfound respect for Mortally. Back in, I played at 8's lobby. It was me, Mortally, a couple of the guys played against Spartan and a couple of gunners as well. And not only was Mortally going toe to toe with Spartan in the Slays department, but on top of that, he was the clear IGL. It was not a co-IGL. It was not a questionnaires IGL. He was the clear IGL on that team. And I if you can slay and you can in-game lead, I like you. I respect it because it's tough to do both. So I gained a lot of respect from Mortally, and I would say I gained an immense, a tremendous, an inconceivable amount of respect for Hotshot Ghost, because when I would look at Hotshot Ghost, look at the stats, I'm like, oh yeah, he's stuffing the stats. He's great. He was on formative torrent. He was fantastic. But when I was casting him, I saw high IQ plays. I saw game-changing plays. I saw the brain of a vet and the heart of a top AM, a hungry AM. You know what I mean?
That's scary, dude.
I was impressed. The 1v2s, the double kills, to stabilize when his team was already down in numbers and for him to catch up, and then it was like he was thinking one step ahead of the competition. And when you have a player that's consistently doing that, I like it. And this team, I want to see them stick together. I want to see them practice, because I always will say that I have an eye for talent. And these are not just some talented individuals. This is a team that can, with some practice, with some shaping, with some molding, with some game planning, watch out. Anime Demons is not a roster that I would want to run into in pool play or in bracket play fighting for their life. So great job to Anime Demons, and good luck going forward. I know Hotshot Ghost in the chat right now, so I'm gonna say you're good. Worst gamer tag in Halo. Absolute dreadful. Hotshot decent. Hotshot Ghost is absolutely garbage. Made it when he was 5 years old, and trust me, I'm saying I can't be that nice to him and not roast. I'm saying I'm in his face. I gotta make sure I get him a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Anime Demons. They played amazing, like you said, a Game 5 win over SSG. That's big to me because SSG are a damn good roster. We'll talk about a little bit later.
I love that you said the mind of a vet and the heart of an AM player. That is a perfect way to describe this man because like you had said and like I had said as well, the plays he's making, like they call those low percentage plays. When you're in a 2v1 situation, you're the last guy alive, you've got to kill, you've got to at least get a trade. That's, what's wanted. But, if you can get both, that's great. You wipe the squad, you're the last player alive. You can, mess with the objective, have a little bit of objective efficiency every single time. We're talking 5% plays, 10% plays. He makes them. And that's incredible. You need a player like that. And I love this squad because there's not a weak link on the squad that I can see. There's no one that I'm like, this guy's not really on the same page. Like, I feel like these guys are all on the same page. I truly do, just from watching from that one tournament. But it'll be exciting to see what they do in pool play. Obviously, it depends on what pool they get into. I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'll be fully honest, I don't understand the seeding in terms of like how they seed the pools and how they make sure that the pools are, there's obviously going to be 4 pools, there's going to be 4 teams in each pool. I'm not sure how the pools are seeded, but we'll have to find out when the time comes. But regardless, just an amazing squad, definitely. So I do want to move on a little bit here and talk about the rosters that are locked in. So like I said, roster lock was on the 25th of July, and now the top 8 teams, only the top 8 teams are locked in and cannot change rosters at all. Number 1, you've got Sentinels. They've got 111,000 points, and I'll just name the top points and the lower points so you don't have to hear all the points. But then you got Cloud9 in 2nd, Optic in 3rd, Pioneers in 4th, G1, Faze, E United, and G2 with 40,000 points. Now, something interesting about G2 is that those 40,000 points were less than SSG. This is why SSG did not think they had to play in the tournament. They thought they were qualified in the top 8. But the thing is, G2 have, Gilkey, Straight Sick, and Sab, but they've got a 4th. And as of right now, it is not official. But what is official is the rumor is just starting to become more clear and more truthful now. Barcode is now in Texas. He is officially living in Texas. And he was the quote-unquote G2 Esports 4th. And I assume with his points, they are, in 8th place. And I think that's why they were awarded that 8th place spot. And SSG, let me tell you, like I said before, we're not happy about that whatsoever. And they're already going through a lot of stuff as it is. SSG is just taking hits left and right and left and right. But, I hope that they can recover. I do want to talk about SSG. Like I said, they needed to play. They didn't think they did. They found out last second that they needed to play because there was some mix-up, right, Tony, with the Faceit website and the bracket and stuff. They had to make a new one. So last minute, SSG realized they needed to play, and they make it all the way to the qualifying round, and they lose the Game 5 to Anime Demons, with Mortally going 20-10 in that Game 5. Tony, what is... I mean, there's internal turmoil there with this squad, obviously. Not that we know of, but we're getting rumors. What is your thoughts on SSG? What do they need to do here to make sure that they're mentally and, their chemistry ready for this super coming up?
Get in the freaking lab. I mean, I noticed it. I know there's been some issues, and with those issues, they haven't been scrimming as much. They haven't been, grind as much, playing those off tournaments and whatnot. Dude, get in the lab and freaking play together, and play together and just win together. Because if there's one thing that I feel just trumps everything else, it's winning. just go in and just grind, because it's so funny to be like SSG. They're so talented. They play the game the right way. They have young guns. They have veteran leadership. They have a fantastic coach. They smell good. They were real popular in high school. You got everything going for you. Like, just go out there and do the damn thing. I want to see them in esports arena tours. I want to see them scrimming. I want to see them just grinding, film review, a grind, review, improve. It's always my motto, and just do it. At this point, is he going to stay together long term? I don't know. But at the same time, I don't give a damn. Like, you're here now. So get in the lab, figure it out, grind, and be the team that we know you are, man. Tylenol's been absolutely incredible since MCC. Suppressed is one of the young talents who, by the way, I was talking about him way before, back at the tail end of Halo 5, I want to say, because this man has a very smooth shot, a dominant shot that's so tough to deal with. Collect, I sing his praise all the time. Collect another young superstar that we have in the league. And even Ace, dude, Ace has had some crazy pop-off games. So there's too much talent for you to fail. So go out there and secure what's yours. Because Space Station Gaming, whether it's as individuals or as a team, are destined for greatness. And while you're together, might as well attain some of that greatness together. And again, I don't know what's going on. I haven't talked to Collect or Ace or any of them, so maybe they've mended fences by now and they've moved past it. Again, I don't know. But I'm speaking generally from an outside looking in. I call it barbershop talk. I'm a fan. I'm looking at a third party perspective, and I'm just saying from what I see and what us as the fans see. And this is what we this is what we see. So just go out there and do the damn thing. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, so I want to add to your point. So I really do think that, you know, you might think my answer is, not important or whatever. I do think that, the scrims and the tournaments, the ESA tournaments, the whatever tournaments you can get into are very, very important. I think that film review is very, very important, of course. I think that what you spoke on last week about having a talk, that talk has shifted, but I still think it needs to happen if that's necessary. Maybe they've already had this talk. Like you said, we don't know. We have no idea what's going on. But there's a lot of money on the line, man. And like you said, they can do big things together. This squad is very talented. We've seen what they're capable of against some of the top teams in the game when they first formed. And then all of a sudden, players went off or whatever. I think that, and you speak of Ace, by the way, Ace actually posted something on Twitter today about how he posted his gameplay. I believe it was a scrim versus Oxygen Esports, and he was 36-12 or something. And he said, "This is what happens when you give me power weapons." I was thinking it was gonna say, "This is what happens when I have an ice bath," but no, it said, "This is what happens when you give me power weapons." So Ace feeling a little confident. Maybe he thinks he's not getting the power weapons in the game. Maybe he's not getting power and priority, which we know is a thing. Depending on how players play during the game. But regardless, I think the squad is very good. I obviously don't think they're going to be together after this season. No shot. There's no shot this team stays together after the season. But make an impact now. If you're looking for a team to look at you from the outside and say, "Wow, I really want that player on my squad."
What if they get third place and they're a super?
If they get third place in the super, this team needs to shut up and just stop all the drama and just be happy with each other. Be like, "Yeah, that's right. You know what? I love you." Like you said, winning, it's not winning, it's third place, but it's still the super. Winning heals everything. I think they could be best friends at that point if they get third place. But it all comes down to if the players are happy or not. And that's the thing. I'm sorry. I stress this a lot because I really do believe that mental in Halo is so important, and not just the confidence level, not just how you think you're playing individually, but the vibe of the squad. Like there are players that yell and scream every call out, Kratos. There are players that are really quiet and do their own thing, Piggy. There are different styles of players, but the styles have to mesh together. And you can't have headbutting. You can't have this one player being overconfident, the other player being overconfident as well, and thinking that they're better than each other or whatever. There's got to be that chemistry there. So on top of all this scrimming and all this crap that you're talking about, this is very important. It's not crap. It's important. Go to Dave & Buster's. Go play some video games together. Go play, go play basketball. Go eat dinner together. Go out and do those things. Because I truly believe that a team that gets along outside of the game plays way better inside the game. That's my opinion. I've seen it flourish. I've seen it happen with many teams in the 20 years I've been watching Halo. I think it's important. So go do those things. Is it corny? Yeah, who cares? It's important. Like we're people. We're all human beings that want a connection with another human being in many ways, obviously. But in this way, it would be like, you know, your family in the sense of Halo. Like you guys, I feel like that has to be there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a softie, and that's just the way I think. But I truly do think that something needs to happen because this SSG roster is really good. And yeah, after the season, if they want to split up, fine. But you're not splitting up, you know, until after the Super. There's no splitting up. This is locked. You're locked in. Actually, I don't even think they're locked in because they're not in top 8. But I'm assuming they're locked in for the Super. So do what you can for the Super. Like Tony said, get in the lab. And again, this is from a viewer and a big fan of SSG. From the outside looking in and just wanting you guys to succeed because I love this squad. I love Ty. I love Ace. Elamite's great. Of course.
New York.
Suppress. I love all these guys. I love everyone on this squad. And I love SSG as an organization. They're great and they're great to me and great people. So that being said, I hope that they figure it out and get things going. Because I'm gonna be honest, I think I said it during my cast, Tony. I don't even want to hear what the comms sounded like in that game 5 when they lost. Like I would assume it was quiet, but you want to hear it? You know what? Just this is an inside look, by the way. Brandon the producer for LVT was like, "Yo, should we go into comms?" and I think it was Garrett that said, "No, that'd be BM or whatever." In my head, I was thinking, "Go into the comms, man. I want to hear what they sound like when they're losing, because I guarantee." It wasn't that good. I actually should look back because the streams are online. But anyway, moving on. What do you think about Barcode moving to Texas, Tony? I don't know if you've... Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I understand he's a great player, and I know he's got a lot of potential, or else he wouldn't be moving to the USA, and G2 wouldn't be picking him up. I just haven't seen enough of him because when I watch the Australian side of things... I'm all about Divine Mind because I love my boy. You know, I love my Divine Mind. I actually forgot it. Is it Liam? Liam, yes, thank you. Liam, I love him. I think he's just the nicest guy ever, and the guy has so much passion for his team. This guy, he gets, not to go off topic too much, but he gets messages all the time like, "Why is Divine Mind? Why are you paying for all these guys to go to these events? Like." They're gonna fail. You're wasting your money. This guy, we were talking during KC. He gets all of these messages every single day. And then after KC, Divine Mind starts winning. And he every single time I retweet or like it, I'd say, "That's right." Stick it to them. These guys don't know what they're talking about. Very passionate. But that's why I don't really watch much of Barcode. Now, not to put you on the spot, Tony, but do you watch, have you seen a lot of Barcode? Do you know much about him as a player?
Yes. I'm on the complete opposite side of the fence of you.
Okay.
Barcode, another young, super talented individual, and on top of that, has probably one of the best attitudes in the league.
Love that.
He's always happy-go-lucky. He went to Raleigh. And I'll give you guys a little inside look. So I did a little video clip with Barcode, and they want to grab a professional player. They wanted me to host it, and they just want us to say, "Hey, simple as this: because of crowdfunding, the tournament prize pool has been boosted X amount of money." I'm like, "Okay, cool." They said, we're going to grab a pro, and we're going to want you to talk to him about it. I said, "Cool." So the first one they bring in is Barcode, and I say, Barcode's knocked out of the tournament. Why the hell would he even want to do this? Like honestly, like why would he want? Like, they want me to ask him how does he feel about the prize pool being boosted up, and he has no shot of making any of it. It's knocked out. So it was. So I'm like, this is gonna be terrible. And no, happy-go-lucky, fantastic, great attitude, an infectious smile, and just has nothing but great things to say. Then on top of that, the Halo Lord question, you already know Barcode was banging him out. Those Halo Lord questions, he was banging him out. But just like G2 not only want a player that can slay and can do the damn thing, especially go alongside Sab, Gilkey, and Straight Sick, but also one without that ego that's gonna go in, hit the ground running, put in the work, and is coachable. Because when you're talented and you're coachable, you have a future. And Barcode is that. Again, the talent is there. I promise you, it is there. And is it gonna shine the super? I guess I don't know. But as far as is he, no matter what, is he going to grind, good or bad? He's going to work on it and become better and have a smile on his face while doing it and always show up on time and always make sure that he's listening to his coach and the rest of his team. Yes. And that's why I think Barcode is going to be successful if he's on G2, because we don't know, I don't care what roster he's on. He's super talented, super coachable, and another player, I there's a bright future. I got him, the hot shot goes, the collects, the suppress, swishes, Towlix. I got a plethora of them, and he's definitely on that list.
So I've got to add to what you said. I think you're right. I think having a player like Barcode added to the squad is perfect in terms of attitude. You got Gilkey, Straight Sick, and Sab, three of the most humble pro players in the league, in my opinion. I'm gonna be honest, just by talking to these guys and just seeing whatever interviews or anything like that, the most humble people in the league. Straight Sick's been in there for a long time. This guy deserves to be on this squad. Obviously, he's a sick slayer. He's adapted to Halo Infinite pretty well, I would say, and the same with Gilkey.
He said he can tap strafe on a dime.
Really?
He said Straight Six says that he can tap strafe on a freaking dime.
My goodness, I love this G2 squad, and they're 8th seed, so they obviously secured their pool play spot, and we'll see where they go. And speaking of that, Tony, I got to get some predictions from you. We got a whole super to predict here. I want you. This is guys, I just want to preface in saying that I'm putting Tony on the spot completely here, and asking him this, but we need some super predictions. I want you to give me your top 5 for the super, and I'll start with mine first. Okay, I'll put myself on the spot. I'll start with mine first. Top 5 for the super. Number 1, I'm going with Sentinels. Sentinels is, I'm telling you right now, there is one team, and Onset, I believe, and Bravo called them the sleeping giant, which I love. I love that. That's just the perfect way to say it. This squad is the sleeping giant. They wake up when there's a lot of money on the line. Like, that's just the way they are. And when it matters most, when they need to win, they win. And the fact that they're all going to Texas puts them on the same board as everyone else. And I love this roster. They did have a little shakeup. They were rumored shakeup. Sorry, with Lethal, but they've stuck with this 4. And now, Tony, if I'm not mistaken, they are the only roster that has kept the same players from Halo 5. Am I correct? Like that you've seen? I don't think any other roster, not that I can think of in my head, has kept the same roster, and Sentinels has. And they're on crack to make to continue their dynasty. And obviously they won Kansas City out of nowhere, and that's why they're called the sleeping giant, because they just wake up out of nowhere and just smash everybody. It didn't even look like a competition against Cloud9. Not even like I rewatched the broadcast. They were slamming like on all cylinders, and it's crazy to see. Talking to Snakebite, he doesn't think that they're ready at all. He thinks that there's a lot of work to do, which is interesting, but that's just kind of Snakebite. I think he's the best IGL in the game, and he's got a crazy mind. So Sentinel's number 1. Number 2, I'm gonna go Optic. I'm gonna go Optic for number 2. I just not really much to say there. I love Optic. I think they're a great squad, but I don't know. I don't think they beat Sentinels. I don't know. And then number 3, Cloud9. I think Cloud9 is good. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that I feel like they were better with Renegade. I think Bound is a great player, but I think he needs more time. My Worlds predictions or my Orlando predictions will be different. I think Cloud9 is a team that comes to play on LAN. I think they're all LAN players. All 4 of them are LAN players. They are all very good on LAN and online. not as good, obviously. Even though they've won, Pro Series tournaments online, et cetera, I think, this is a little bit of a different beast with 125K on the line. So I have Sentinels, Optic, Cloud9. Number 4, I'm going to say Pioneers. They're seeded number 4, and I think that Pioneers will continue, at least in this tournament. It could be higher in the next. I think that they will be number 4 again, and I think Nick brings a lot of value to this squad. I think he really, we talk about being the glue. I hate to overuse that, that comparison, but I that's what I think Nick is for the squad. He's the glue, and by glue you kind of think of like, a player pulling away from the glue and then Nick kind of pulling him back in certain situations. I think they're all very aggressive, but Nick kind of knows how to step back and bring his team back as well, and potentially take that IGL role as well. I love the Pioneers. I think they're a great team. 5th, I'm actually going to put G1 there. They're seeded 5th, and I know this is a real big stretch, especially with E United and especially with G2 there. But I think that this G1 squad is disgusting. I'm a big fan. Maybe it's a little bit of bias. Maybe it's a tiny bit of bias. I love Swish. I love his mentality. I love that Boo Boo is the driving force here. Predevinator and Squale are incredible players. I love how you kind of described Predevinator earlier, where he's kind of like he likes to fly under the radar, because that's exactly how I see him. There's just games where this guy comes out of nowhere and just pops off, and I think he's an incredibly skilled player. So. That's my top 5. So Sentinels, Optic, Cloud9, Pioneers, G1 are my top 5 predictions for the Super. What about you, Tony? What are you looking at?
I was a little worried because our top 3 was the same. So I was a little worried.
It's okay.
That we're gonna have the same exact one.
That means you're smart. That means you're smart, Tony.
So I got Sentinels number 1. I think they won Kansas City, stepping up when it matters most. This roster is absolutely amazing. Frosty's incredible, and in my opinion, the best player in the game right now. Snakebite has somehow become underrated. Royal 2 is a slayer, an absolute slayer. Whenever you have him on your squad, you're going to be successful. And I think Lito is going to have a prove you wrong type of tournament, proving all the naysayers wrong. Optic Gaming, I mean, they're putting in the work, they're scrimming, they're doing what they have to do. I think I love this team. I love the way they come together. I think just if I was gonna name almost a perfect team, I think I would say Optic, because I feel like you have 4 very capable players in the Slays department, but then you have 4 very unselfish players that are always active in the communications, that are always just playing the game the right way. Like Optic are just fundamentally too sound to break through their green wall defense. Cloud9, I mean, they're Cloud9. I think Renegade is pretty damn close to replaceable, but luckily they were able to bring in Bound, and I love Bound's fit on this roster. I think Eco has really stepped up in the Slays department. I feel like there was one player that had to step up in place of Renegade leaving, and in my opinion, it's been Eco. He's been lights out, and always has been. But I just feel like my eyes are drawn even more to him recently. Number 4 is where we differ. I'm gonna go Faze. Spartan, Snipe Down, Falcated, Renegade. I think I'd be crazy not to put them at minimum top 4, because I think that they will be consistently contending for championships in the future. But it's their first tournament. Things have been a little bit shaky. I'm not ready to crown them kings just yet. And then as my 5th, I'm going to throw a curveball, and I'm going to say E United. I think E United are very similar to the E United that we've had in the first 3 tournaments. You still have Ryan Noob and Rain. Manny reminds me of a King Nick, like a player that can pop off, a player that can be an entry frag, like that entry fragger, that player that can absolutely light up the scoreboard. And when you need someone to take a 1v2, it's Manny. I say it all the time. Consistency is not his game, but the games that he pops off, he's playing as the best player in the lobby. I don't care who he's going up against. His pop off is his ceiling is just so high. And then Suspector, who I'm not gonna say Suspector is Spartan, but I'm gonna say that he's a damn underrated Slayer. He's incredible, and he's another player that can stuff the stat sheet. So this team reminds me of what the E United looked like, but in the first 3 tournaments. And mind you, they were consistently getting top 4. What, Raleigh was second place, Anaheim was third place, and was Kansas City fourth for United? Maybe
I believe it's fourth. Yeah, they kind of went up. They went up. Yep.
So you're top 4 in the first 3 tournaments, and this roster reminds me so much of what you had. So give me E United 5th, and that would be my top 5. But again, I will say again, I don't want to be a victim of recency bias, but I will say G1, they looking like they're contending for top 6. G2, I mean, you put Pioneers, but as of right now, G2 are elevating. I feel like every time G2 and Pioneers match up against them, I feel like Pioneers have such a hard time with G2. The Pioneers' weaknesses are G2 strengths, and vice versa. So it literally is a coin flip when it comes to those two. SSG, I think, have top 6 potential. You can make an argument for for Oxygen and Complexity. I think you can make an argument for Fnatic, even though we haven't seen them reach that potential. But I will say I'm going to go with Sentinels Optic, C9 Faze, and E United. With my predictions, I like to go a little bit safer, and to me, I think those are safe bets to me.
Okay. Yeah, so let me push back a little bit here. So the only reason that G2's not on my radar at the moment is just because without Barcode being there, we haven't seen Barcode play yet. We haven't seen any of the scrims with Barcode. At least I haven't. Without Halo Data Hive, it's really hard to kind of see that type of stuff, and I haven't been able to watch any of the scrims because I don't believe they stream any of them. So it's just hard for me. I think they're going to be a great roster with Barcode, but it's hard for me to kind of put them up there with that. With Faze, like I said before, and I'll say it again, I think Faze is going to win Worlds. Super is just way too close. These guys, they've lost pretty much to every scrim that they've had so far by a large margin. And yes, they did win against Fnatic in the ESA tournament, and I did see that. But Fnatic is not a squad that I see breaking top 6 ever. At least with this squad, I no disrespect to them. I think that they're going to need a lot of time as well. A lot of these teams that are kind of developing, I would say things will be different in season 2 as they continue to practice. If they stick with the same roster, maybe they make changes that bump them up a little bit. But like I said, I'm a big fan of Faze. I was actually asking Sparty if he could give me a season 1 skin because I didn't like Faze before, even though Snipedown was on the roster. I didn't really like Faze before, but now that now the roster that's currently there, I love this roster. I'm a big fanboy, and unfortunately, I have to not be biased as a caster, so it's difficult. But I really love this Faze roster. And there's no disrespect for me not putting them in top 5. I just don't think they have enough time. I think that we're literally this Sunday, and then we have obviously the Super is the next weekend. So just August 5th, I believe it starts. Just not enough time. I think they need a lot more time, especially speaking of Sparty. And the fact that they don't know if they're going to Texas is another big factor for me. Online Halo, wow. We're talking a stark difference between online Halo and LAN. And I'm not talking, I'm talking Halo 3. Like, if you were there at the very beginning of Halo 3 in 2007 and you played Halo Online and then you went to LAN, that is the difference we're talking about. It is a completely different game, and it's even worse with all the performance issues that are impacting the game, such as desync, etc. That 343 obviously is working on every single day. So that's why my decisions were the way they were. So I like your top 5 as well. I think it's pretty. That top 3 is pretty solidified unless something crazy happens. Maybe the number 2 in Cloud9 and Optic, maybe they switch spots. That's a potential as well. But I don't know why Optic just have a hard time closing tournaments. I don't know what it is. And I believe they won the last Pro Series, correct, Tony? So they were able to do that, or the last 2.
They won the Faze Invitational, 50,000. They eventually turned to 75,000 online.
Okay, so they definitely have the potential to win. I don't know what it is against. Maybe it's a mental thing against some of these teams, like an Optic versus Sentinels. regardless of how good Optic is playing, I don't see them beating Sentinels. I don't know if it's a mental thing within the squad or something. Obviously, there's a little bit of drama in there, right? So maybe that's playing a factor. I don't know. Lucid is the best player in the game, and I'm gonna say that for a long time because I know there's a Renegade, but I still think Lucid is the best player in the game by far. I think the guy has transcended, utilizing equipment and utilizing the sandbox in a way that no other player has. I truly do think, and honestly, when he first started playing and he was number 1 by a landslide, I thought, okay, he's going to fall off at some point. There's no shot that he continues, but like this guy is kept up and kept ahead of so many players when it comes to how we're talking the utilization of the sandbox. And I know sandbox is like this, this term that everyone's using, but there's so much to being really good with a grapple, being really good with a repulsor, being really good with a shock rifle, a stalker rifle, the bulldog. Like there's a lot, the thruster, there's a lot to it. Each equipment and each weapon have this individual skill to them that you literally have to raise the, all those skills together. And I think Lucid has done a really good job of that. So, even though I think he's the number 1 player in the world right now, I still think that for some reason they have trouble against Sentinels. And even Cloud9, I would say. They have trouble against both those teams, whether it be mentally or whatever. But anyway, I digress. I believe, Tony, that we've run out of time here. So do you have any closing thoughts for anyone in the show or anything extra you want to talk about real quick before we close?
I mean, not really. I mean, thank you guys so much for stopping by and checking out the content, whether you're live here on the Twitch, 10 p.m. Eastern every single Wednesday, or you're on the YouTube or Spotify that we're on right now. It's been a pleasure doing these episodes. I've been absolutely loving it. I hope you have been too, and hope they continue to get bigger, better, and badder than ever. Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting, with HCS commentators. I stream every single day, 11 o'clock in the morning, every single morning. And I do YouTube content, which I'm going to get back to doing at least on a bi-weekly basis. At a minimum, I'll get back to it. And it's been great. It really has been.
Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Active. I go by Active E on Twitter. I go by Active E Live on YouTube as well. So if you want to check out the YouTube, on Twitch, I stream every single day at 6 p.m. Eastern as well. So definitely check out the Twitch channel if you'd like. We have our Twitters down below, and you can find our Twitch channel through our Twitter. So you can do that. I might just add the Twitch as well, so it's easier for you. I'm not sure. But Tony talked about growth. The biggest thing that you guys can do here, because I believe this show is really wanted across the entire HCS community. I think that people want a show like this, but a lot of people don't know we're doing this, okay? So spread the word. Tell your friends, tell everyone you know that is involved with HCS or likes watching competitive Halo. Let them know that we do a show. You don't have to point them to the Twitch stream. We do this, live, but point them to the YouTube, point them to the Spotify, and, give them something to listen to or watch throughout their day. My name is Active. That's going to be it. We have Tony here as well. Make sure you see us next time, next Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/HCS Source. We'll see you then.